Here's the cold, hard truth. You think you're ready. You've got the plan, the gear, the escape route. You've spent hours preparing for the collapse, imagining every scenario. But there's one thing you haven't considered. One thing that could turn all your careful planning into a death sentence. It's not the chaos. It's not the wild. It's people. Armed, ruthless, desperate, watching your every move. Because here's the thing. Survival isn't just about what you have, it's about what others think you have. And if you're carrying the wrong items, you're not just surviving. You're advertising. You're a walking target, a beacon for danger. And when the system crumbles, there's no law, no order, no one to protect you. The wrong gear in your pack doesn't just put you at risk. It paints a bullseye on your back. Everyone's so focused on stockpiling, hoarding, and prepping that they miss the bigger picture. Some of those so-called essentials could get you killed, because when the collapse hits, it's not about being prepared, it's about staying invisible. And the wrong gear, it screams, "I've got what you don't." It makes you a target for ambush, robbery, or worse. These 9 items might seem like smart survival tools, but in a real breakdown, they'll get you noticed, and not in a good way. If any of these are in your pack, you need to rethink your strategy, because once someone else notices, it's already too late. The deadly signal, butane stoves. In a world where survival is the only goal, cooking becomes a dangerous luxury. It's not the food itself that puts you at risk. It's the act of cooking. And nothing screams "I've got resources" louder than a butane canister stove. These compact, efficient little devices are a prepper's favorite, but in a collapse, they're a beacon for trouble. The moment you ignite one, you're sending out signals. Loud, invisible signals that travel farther than you think. The ignition click. It's a sound that cuts through the eerie silence of a collapsed world. The smell of cooking food. It drifts on the wind, reaching noses that haven't smelled a hot meal in weeks. And the flame. It's visible from angles you'd never consider, especially in the pitch-black darkness of a powerless world. Here's the harsh reality. When people are cold, starving, and desperate, they don't think rationally. The scent of food is like a gunshot. It draws attention, and not the kind you want. If someone catches even the faintest whiff of your meal, they'll follow it. And when they find you, it won't be to ask for a recipe. It'll be to take what you have by any means necessary. Your butane stove doesn't just cook your food. It paints a target on your back. It tells the world you have fuel, food, and maybe even more supplies worth stealing. In a lawless world, that kind of attention is a death sentence. So how do you fix it? You cook like a ghost. If you must use a butane stove, do it in a sealed, enclosed space. No open windows, no vent, no light leaks, and absolutely no cooking at night. The best time? Dawn. Get it done quickly, clean up thoroughly, and leave no trace. Because in a collapse, the simple act of eating in peace is a rare and dangerous privilege. Remember, if they smell your food, they'll assume you have more. And in a world without rules, that assumption can cost you everything. Don't make the mistake of cooking like it's just another day. After the collapse, nothing is normal. 2. The glow that gives you away. Solar lanterns. When the world goes dark, light becomes a luxury and a liability. Mini solar lanterns might seem like the perfect prepper tool. They're compact, rechargeable, and provide hours of light without the need for batteries or fuel. But in a true collapse, that light could be the very thing that gets you hunted. Here's the brutal truth. In a world without power, light is a signal. A single flicker in the distance says, someone's there. A steady glow says, someone's comfortable. And a bright lantern, that screams, I'm doing better than you. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the woods, an abandoned building, or a hidden camp, light cuts through the darkness, and desperate eyes will notice. Now imagine this. It's been 2 weeks since the power grid went down. People are cold, hungry, and scared. They haven't seen light in days. Then, from half a mile away, someone spots the faint glow of your lantern through a window or under a tarp. They don't know who you are, but they know one thing. You have something they don't. And that's all it takes. You didn't mean to show off. You were just trying to stay safe, to see in the dark. But now you've exposed your position. You've told the world you have resources. And in a desperate, lawless world, that's an invitation for trouble. So how do you stay safe? You don't stop using solar lanterns. You get smarter about it. Shield the light. Use red filters to reduce visibility. Never use it near a window or in an open area. And never leave it running unattended. If you're outside, block all sides with something that kills the glow completely. Light can keep you safe, but only if no one else sees it. In the dark, even the smallest flicker can bring attention. You can't afford. Stay lit, but stay hidden. Because in a world where everyone is watching, even a whisper of light can be your downfall. 3. Liquid gold, collapsible water jugs. Water is life. In a collapse, it's not gold, fuel or food that becomes the ultimate currency. It's water. Clean, drinkable water will be the most valuable resource. And if you're carrying a collapsible water jug, you might as well be carrying a neon sign that says, "Follow me." Collapsible water jugs are a prepper's dream. They're lightweight, foldable, and let you transport large amounts of water without taking up much space. But here's the problem. The moment someone sees you using one, you're no longer just another survivor. You're a target. Picture this. You walk up to a water source with your big, clean jug. You fill it confidently, knowing you've got the tools to survive. But to everyone else, you're not just a person, you're a map. You've just told them two things. You know where clean water is, and you're probably coming back for more. That's all it takes to turn you into a marked man. In a world where most people are drinking from gutters, broken pipes, or stagnant puddles, your clean water jug is a symbol of wealth. It screams, "I have what you don't." And in a desperate world, that kind of visibility is dangerous. People will follow you, they'll watch where you go, and when the time is right, they'll take what you have by force, if necessary. The problem isn't the jug itself. It's how and where you use it. That big plastic cube is a dead giveaway. So what's the solution? Be invisible. Use smaller containers when you're in public. Fill them quickly and discreetly. Store them deep in your pack, out of sight, and never take the same path twice. Only use your large jug when you're absolutely sure no one is watching or under the cover of darkness. And whatever you do, don't leave it outside your shelter. One glimpse of it, and someone will know you're holding liquid gold. Water can save your life, but showing people you have it, that's how you lose it. Stay quiet, stay hidden, and don't let your water jug become your death sentence. In a collapse, survival isn't just about what you have, it's about what others think you have. And when it comes to water, the less they know, the better. 4. The Red Cross Trap. First aid kits. In everyday life, a first aid kit is a symbol of preparedness and safety. But after a collapse, that little red bag with the white cross might as well be a flashing neon sign that screams, "I'm worth robbing." Most preppers proudly strap their first aid kits to the outside of their packs for easy access. But in a world where desperation rules, that visibility is a fatal mistake. Here's the grim reality. When society crumbles, people won't be scavenging for electronics or luxuries. They'll be hunting for survival essentials. Antibiotics, painkillers, bandages, antiseptics. These will be worth more than gold. And if someone spots that iconic red bag hanging off your gear, you've just turned yourself into a walking pharmacy. A pharmacy that's unguarded, vulnerable, and ripe for the taking. Think about it. In a world where infections can kill and injuries are a death sentence, your first aid kit is a treasure chest. People won't care what's actually inside. The mere sight of it will trigger desperation. And if they think you're carrying something rare like morphine, insulin, or antibiotics, they won't ask nicely. They'll take it, and they won't care what happens to you in the process. So how do you protect yourself? The first step is to strip away the branding. Get rid of the red bag, ditch the cross. Repack your medical supplies into plain, unmarked pouches. No logos, no labels, nothing that hints at what's inside. Then bury it deep in your pack or hide it in your shelter. Make it invisible. Even better, break your kit into smaller, separate pouches. That way, if someone does manage to steal one, you won't lose everything. And never pull out your medical supplies in front of strangers. The moment people know you have meds, you're no longer just another survivor, you're a target. A target that people will follow, ambush, and exploit. In a collapse, being prepared is essential. But being seen as prepared, that's how you disappear. Stay hidden, stay smart, and don't let your first aid kit become your downfall. 5. The Beacon of Doom, flashlights. Flashlights are one of those tools you think you can't live without, and in normal life, that's true. A high-lumen tactical flashlight, with strobe modes and a built-in power bank, feels like the ultimate survival tool. But in a real collapse, that bright beam of light is more than just a tool, it's a death sentence. When the world goes dark and silence takes over, even the smallest flicker of light becomes a signal that says, I'm here. And those ultra-bright tactical flashlights, they don't just light your path, they light it for everyone else too. From 100 yards away, someone can see that beam cutting through the darkness. They know you're there. They know you're moving. And they know you have working gear. Here's the terrifying truth. In a world without power, light is a luxury. If your flashlight is still working, people will assume you have batteries, power, and supplies. They won't care what you're actually carrying. They'll believe you have more. And that belief is enough to make you a target. Even worse, if you're using strobe features or high beam settings, you're not just visible, you're unforgettable. You've left a trail, a glowing breadcrumb path that anyone can follow. And in a world where desperation drives people to extremes, that's all it takes to put you in danger. So, how do you stay safe? First, ditch the high lumen obsession. Use flashlights with adjustable brightness and stick to dim settings. Red light is even better. It's less visible from a distance and doesn't ruin your night vision. Shield the beam with your hand or fabric to prevent reflections. Never wave it around, never leave it on longer than necessary, and never, ever use it in open areas, unless you're absolutely sure you're alone. In a collapse, light is a double-edged sword. It can keep you safe, but it can also expose you. Stay dark. Stay invisible. And remember, in the silence of a collapsed world, light doesn't just travel, it screams, "Six," the silent giveaway. Propane tanks. Before the collapse, a propane tank was just a tool for backyard barbecues and camping trips. But after the lights go out and the system falls apart, that same tank becomes something else entirely. A mobile flag that screams, "I've got power." Propane is silent, portable, and incredibly versatile. You can cook with it, heat with it, even power certain tools. But that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. In a world where no one has anything, a propane tank is a symbol of survival. It doesn't matter if it's full, half empty, or completely drained. The moment someone sees you hauling one, they'll assume you've got your life together, and that assumption is all it takes to turn you into a target. Think about it. In a desperate world, people aren't just looking for food or water. They're looking for anything that can make their lives a little less miserable. A propane tank can cook a hot meal, boil clean water, or heat a freezing room. To someone living off scraps and cold dirt, that's not just comfort, it's survival. And if they see you with a tank, they won't think, "Oh, he's being smart." They'll think, "He's prepared. He has more. And I want it." So how do you carry propane without painting a target on your back? First, never transport it during the day. Always move fuel under the cover of darkness. Wrap it in tarps, blankets, or garbage bags to disguise its shape. Second, store it out of sight. Don't leave it outside your tent or next to your shelter. Bury it, hide it, lock it away, and never ever talk about it. Because propane might be silent, but the attention it brings is anything but. In a collapse, survival isn't just about having the right tools, it's about keeping them hidden. Stay quiet, stay invisible, and don't let your propane tank become the reason you're hunted. 7. The feast flag, Dutch ovens, and large cooking pots. In a functioning world, a Dutch oven is just a reliable piece of cookware, heavy, durable, and perfect for cooking hearty meals. But in a collapse, it's not just a pot. It's a loud, unmissable signal that says, "I've got more than you." And in a world where desperation rules, that's a message you can't afford to send. Here's the harsh truth. If you're using a Dutch oven after society crumbles, you're telling everyone two things. First, you've got enough food to cook in bulk. Second, you've got the time, fuel, and resources to do it properly. That's not normal in a crisis. That's rare. And rare things get noticed. The problem isn't just the pot itself, it's what it represents. The smell of food cooking in a Dutch oven doesn't just linger. It travels. Slowly simmering a stew or boiling rice and beans sends an aroma wafting through the air, reaching noses far beyond your camp. To someone who hasn't eaten in days, that smell is like a beacon. They'll follow it, track it, and when they find you, they won't be asking for a bowl. They'll be taking everything you have. Even worse, the Dutch oven itself is a dead giveaway. These things are heavy. No one carries one unless they've set up a base. And if you've got a base, people will assume you've got a stash. Food, fuel, maybe even weapons. That's how raids start. And if they catch you while the pot's still warm, don't expect a polite conversation. Expect chaos. So how do you avoid turning your cookware into a target? Cook small, cook fast, use smaller pots that don't scream family feast. Never leave cookware visible outside your shelter. Don't hang it from your pack like a trophy. Don't leave it in your fire pit to dry. And whatever you do, don't cook when the smell can travel, especially at night when the air is still. In a world where everyone's hungry, it's not just the food they see, it's what they imagine you have behind it. And a Dutch oven? That's the bait. Don't let it be the reason you're hunted. 8. The silent luxury. Thermos flasks. A thermos flask might seem like an innocent everyday item, but in a collapse, it's far from harmless. That shiny steel bottle doesn't just keep your drink hot, it sends a message. A dangerous message that says, I'm living better than you. Think about it, in a world where people are freezing, thirsty, and struggling to boil even a single cup of water, you pull out a thermos filled with hot tea, coffee, or soup. That's not just a drink, it's a statement. It says, you have fuel to burn, clean water to spare, and the time to enjoy a little comfort. And in a desperate world, comfort is a luxury that makes you a target. The flask itself is part of the problem. Its shiny, durable design screams valuable. Even if it's empty, people will assume it's worth stealing. And if they think it's full, they'll imagine it holds something rare. Medicine, soup, or something even more precious. You know what's inside, but they don't. And that mystery is enough to make you a target. So how do you stay safe? First, never drink from your thermos in the open. Step away from prying eyes. Stay out of sight. Keep it quick and quiet. Second, disguise the flask. Wrap it in tape, scuff it up, and take away the shine. Make it look like junk, not treasure. Third, never leave it out in your camp. One glimpse is all it takes for someone to start wondering what else you've got. In a collapse, even the smallest comforts can draw the wrong kind of attention. A thermos might keep your drink hot, but it also heats up curiosity, and curiosity can turn deadly. Hide it, use it carefully, and never let it make you the warmest person in the room. Because in a world where everyone's cold, being warm makes you a target. 9. The scent of survival. Mosquito coils. In the chaos of collapse, most people won't think about bug spray or mosquito coils. They'll be too focused on food, water, and shelter. But when the days get hot and the nights get humid, biting insects become more than just an annoyance. They become a serious threat. Malaria, dengue, and infections from scratching aren't minor inconveniences anymore. They're life-threatening. And that's where insect repellent becomes a double-edged sword. Here's the catch. If you're the only one not scratching, the only one not swatting at your neck or arms, people will notice. And that's where the danger begins. Mosquito coils, bug sprays, and lotions all have one thing in common. They smell, some are strong, some are subtle, but all are noticeable. In a world where everyone is filthy, sweaty, and struggling, the scent of citronella or DEET doesn't just stand out, it travels. Imagine this. Someone walking by your camp catches even a faint whiff of your mosquito coil. Suddenly, they know two things. First, you're not suffering the way they are. Second, you've got supplies they don't. Insect protection signals comfort, and comfort is rare. It tells people you've got enough resources to care about bug bites. And if you've got that, what else might you have? Food, water, medicine, that's all it takes to make you a target. So how do you protect yourself? If you're using repellent, apply it away from camp. Apply it under your clothing, if possible, to minimize the scent. For coils or smoke-based repellents, only burn them when no one's nearby. Never use them in open-air zones where the scent can drift. And always dispose of packaging and used coils far from where you sleep. Insect protection is necessary, but like everything in a collapse, it has to be quiet, hidden, and untraceable. Because the moment you smell better than the guy next to you, he'll start asking questions, and questions turn into problems real fast. A single mosquito coil won't get you killed, but the comfort it represents, that might. In a world where survival is everything, even the smallest luxuries can make you a target. Stay hidden, stay smart, and don't let the scent of survival become the scent of danger. 10. The sound of survival. Hand crank radios. In a world where communication breaks down, a hand crank radio feels like a lifeline. It's a way to stay informed, to hear emergency broadcasts, or even to pick up signals from other survivors. But in a collapse, That little device can do more harm than good. Why? Because sound travels, and in a silent, desperate world, the noise of a hand crank radio is like a dinner bell for trouble. Picture this. You're sitting in your shelter, cranking your radio to charge it up. The repetitive grinding sound echoes through the stillness. To you, it's just a necessary task. But to someone lurking nearby, it's a signal. It tells them you have gear, valuable gear. It tells them you're prepared, that you've got resources worth taking. And if they're desperate enough, they won't hesitate to follow the sound straight to you. Even worse, once the radio is on, it's not just the cranking that gives you away. The broadcasts themselves can be a problem. A loud voice on the other end, static, or even music, can carry farther than you think. In a world where silence is survival, any noise can be a death sentence. So how do you use a hand crank radio without putting yourself at risk? First, crank it in short bursts, and only when absolutely necessary. Do it in a sealed, enclosed space where the sound won't carry. Second, keep the volume low, just loud enough for you to hear. And third, never use it in the same place twice. If someone hears you once, they might not act immediately, but if they hear you again, they'll know exactly where to find you. A hand crank radio can be a valuable tool, but it's also a liability. In a collapse, even the smallest sound can bring the wrong kind of attention. Stay quiet, stay cautious, and don't let your need for information turn into a beacon for danger. 11. The glow of danger. Glow sticks. Glow sticks are a staple in many survival kits. They're lightweight, easy to use, and provide instant light without the need for batteries or fuel. But in a collapse, that soft, colorful glow can be a deadly mistake. Why? Because light is a signal. And in a world where darkness is the norm, even the faintest glow can make you a target. Imagine this. You're in the woods, trying to navigate a trail at night. You crack a glow stick, thinking it's a safe, discreet way to see where you're going. But what you don't realize is that the light is visible from far away, much farther than you think. To someone watching from a distance, that glow isn't just light. It's a sign that someone is there. And in a desperate world, that's all it takes to draw attention. The problem with glow sticks is that they're hard to hide. Unlike a flashlight, you can't turn them on. Once they're activated, they'll keep glowing until they burn out. And while they might seem dim to you, in the pitch-black darkness of a collapsed world, they're like a beacon. So, how do you use glow sticks without putting yourself at risk? First, only use them in emergencies. They're not meant for everyday tasks. Second, shield the light. Wrap the glow stick in fabric or tape to dim the glow and prevent it from being seen from a distance. Third, never leave them behind. A discarded glow stick is like a breadcrumb trail, leading anyone who finds it straight to you. Glow sticks might seem harmless, but in a collapse, they're anything but. Light is a luxury, and luxuries make you a target. Use them wisely, use them sparingly, and never let their glow give you away. 12. The weight of wealth. Gold and silver. In a functioning society, gold and silver are symbols of wealth and stability. They're tangible assets, a hedge against economic collapse. But in a true breakdown of society, those shiny metals can become a deadly burden. Why? Because they're not just valuable, they're visible. And in a world where desperation reigns, visibility is a death sentence. Here's the thing. In a collapse, the value of gold and silver isn't universal. To some, it might still hold worth as a trade item, but to others, it's meaningless. What matters is the perception. If someone sees you carrying gold or silver, they'll assume you're wealthy. They'll assume you have more food, more supplies, more resources. And that assumption can make you a target. The problem isn't just the metals themselves, it's how they're carried. Coins, bars, or even jewelry are hard to hide. They clink when you move, catch the light, and draw attention. And once someone knows you have them, they won't stop at just taking the gold. They'll want to know what else you're hiding. So, how do you carry gold and silver without putting yourself at risk? First, keep it minimal. Only carry what you absolutely need for trade. Second, store it discreetly. Use hidden compartments, fabric pouches, or even hollowed-out items to keep it out of sight. Third, never flaunt it. Don't use it in public unless you're in a secure, controlled environment. Gold and silver might seem like smart assets, but in a collapse, they're a double-edged sword. They can help you trade, but they can also make you a target. Carry them carefully, hide them, And remember, in a world where survival is everything, wealth is just another reason to be hunted. 13. The Trail of Temptation. Canned goods. Canned goods are a survivalist staple. They're durable, long-lasting, and packed with essential nutrients. But in a collapse, those shiny metal cans can do more than just keep you alive. They can get you killed. Why? Because they're loud, heavy, and impossible to hide. Imagine this. You're walking through a desolate area, your pack clinking with the unmistakable sound of metal cans knocking together. To you, it's just the sound of food. To someone else, it's the sound of opportunity. That noise travels farther than you think, cutting through the silence of a collapsed world. And once someone hears it, they'll know you're carrying something valuable. Even worse, canned goods are visible. If someone catches a glimpse of a can in your pack or sees you eating from one, they'll assume you have more, and in a world where most people are starving, that assumption is enough to make you a target. They won't care if it's your last can or if you've been rationing for weeks. All they'll see is food they don't have. So, how do you carry canned goods without putting yourself at risk? First, minimize the noise. Wrap each can in fabric or tape to prevent them from clinking together. Second, keep them hidden. Store them deep in your pack, out of sight. Third, dispose of empty cans carefully. Don't leave them lying around your camp or along your trail. They're not just trash, they're evidence. Canned goods are a lifeline in a collapse, but they're also a liability. They're heavy, noisy, and impossible to ignore. Carry them wisely, hide them well, and never let their value become your downfall. 14. The flashy mistake, multi-tools and knives. A good multi-tool or knife is one of the most versatile items you can carry in a survival situation. It can cut, pry, open, and even defend. But in a collapse, that shiny blade or high-tech multi-tool can do more than just help you survive. It can make you a target. Here's the problem. Knives and multi-tools are symbols of preparedness. If someone sees you using one, they'll assume you're equipped. They'll assume you have more tools, more supplies, more rushes. And in a desperate world, that assumption can be dangerous. The visibility of these tools is also an issue. A knife strapped to your belt or a multi-tool clipped to your pack is like a flashing sign that says, "I'm ready for anything." It doesn't matter if it's your only tool or if you've been using it for years. To someone else, it's a prize worth taking. Even worse, these tools can be used against you. If someone manages to take your knife or multi-tool, they've not only disarmed you, they've armed themselves. And in a world without rules, that's a risk you can't afford to take. So, how do you carry these tools without drawing attention? First, keep them concealed. Don't wear them openly or attach them to the outside of your pack. Second, use them discreetly. Don't pull out your knife or multi-tool in front of strangers unless absolutely necessary. Third, carry a backup. A small hidden blade or tool can be a lifesaver if your primary one is taken. Knives and multi-tools are essential for survival, but they're also a double-edged sword. They can help you, but they can also hurt you. Carry them carefully, use them wisely, and never let them become a reason for someone to target you. 15. The comfort that kills. Sleeping bags. A sleeping bag might seem like an innocent piece of gear. It's warm, comfortable, and essential for surviving cold nights. But in a collapse, that cozy cocoon can do more than just keep you warm. It can make you a target. Here's the thing. A sleeping bag is a symbol of comfort. If someone sees you with one, they'll assume you're better off than they are. They'll assume you have more gear, more supplies, more rushes. And in a world where most people are struggling to stay warm, that assumption can be dangerous. The visibility of a sleeping bag is also a problem. Strapped to the outside of your pack, it's like a billboard that says, "I'm prepared." Even if it's old, dirty, or barely functional, it still looks valuable to someone who has nothing. And once they see it, they'll start wondering what else you're carrying. Even worse, a sleeping bag can make you vulnerable. When you're zipped up inside, you're not just warm, you're trapped. You can't see what's happening around you. You can't react quickly, and if someone decides to attack, you'll be at a serious disadvantage. So, how do you use a sleeping bag without putting yourself at risk? First, keep it hidden. Don't strap it to the outside of your pack. Store it inside, out of sight. Second, use it sparingly. Only set it up when you're sure you're safe. Third, Have a backup plan. A lightweight emergency blanket or bivy sack can provide warmth without the bulk or visibility of a sleeping bag. A sleeping bag is a valuable piece of gear, but it's also a liability. It's big, visible, and hard to hide. Use it wisely. Hide it, and never let it become the reason you're hunted. In a collapse, comfort is a luxury, and luxuries make you a target. Stay smart. Stay hidden. And don't let your sleeping bag become your downfall.